We will start learning the most used and basic Linux commands. When you open a terminal in Linux as a regular user, it will start in your home directory, which is the directory associated with your user account, and it is often denoted by a tilde or /home/username, where username is your actual username. And you can verify that by running the pwd command. Pwd stands for print working directory, and it is used to print the full path of the directory you are currently in. So whenever you don't know your location in the file system, you can use the pwd command, which will display the full path of the current working directory. Now let's say that we want to know what we have in the current directory. So here we want to display the content of this directory. So what command should we use here? For that we use the ls command, which stands for list. It is used to list the files and directories in a directory. ls is one of the most commonly used commands, and it has various options and arguments to customize its behavior. When we run this command without any argument, it will display the files and directories of the current directory, but it doesn't show the content. By default, the ls command will not display hidden files and directories, which are the files and the directories that start with a dot. To list all the content, including hidden files, we have to use the -a or --all option. If you want to see the content of a specific directory, you can specify either the absolute path or the relative path to that directory. So let's see now what is an absolute path and what is a relative path, and what are the differences between the two. First of all, you have to know that absolute paths and relative paths are two ways to specify the location of a file or a directory within a file system. An absolute path specifies the location of a file or a directory from the root directory of the file system. For example, here the absolute path to the home directory of Mary is /home/Mary, and the absolute path to the Python directory is /home/Bob/Python. So here we start always from the root directory of the file system. Let us now move to the relative path. A relative path specifies the location of a file or a directory relative to the current working directory. It is a shortened and more convenient way to describe the location of a file or a directory within a directory tree. So in a relative path, we don't need to specify the entire path from the root directory of the file system. A relative path can start either with a directory name, which is a subdirectory in the current directory, a dot, which represents the current directory, or double dots used to navigate up to the parent directory. For example, here the relative path to the home directory of Mary is /Mary. So here we have double dots to move up to the home directory, and then from the home directory we navigate to the home directory of Mary, which is the Mary directory. And the relative path of the Python directory is either Python or /Python. So the dot here represents the current directory. Now let's go back to the ls command. With the ls command, you can use the -l option to display a long format listing, which includes additional information such as file permission, the owner and the group of the file, file modification date, and more. If you want to list the files and the directories sorted by modification time in a descending order, you can use the -t option. And to reverse the sorting, you can add the -r option to the option that you use. So that's it for now, and we will continue in the next lecture.